are you doing here?
Disappointing my kids. I'm supposed to go water skiing. Cap needs our help. Come on.
Clint, you should not be here.
Really? I retire for what, like 5 minutes and it all goes to shit?
Please consider the consequences of your actions.
Okay, they're considered.
Welcome to Countdown to Infinity, an Avengers podcast. We watched every single Marvel movie, starting with Iron Man all the way to Ant-Man and the Wasp, and soon Endgame. In our first season, this season, we're talking about every single superhero in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what our favorite moments are, whether we think they'll survive.
Now we've seen all the way to Captain Marvel.
Now we've that's true. We passed
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Wow, how
we done passed it.
It's over now.
Gibberish there.
Also, really, thanks for the commentary, John. We're just why don't you just tell us your opinion every 5 minutes, okay?
All right, I'll stop.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. We really have good rapport here. I'm just kidding. So what's really exciting too, which we may talk about, I don't know, maybe we will. We're recording less than 24 hours from when Disney and Fox and Marvel are all under the same roof. So maybe we'll talk about that a little bit. Anyways, my name's Emmanuel.
I'm Andrew.
Hey there, I'm John.
Craig.
What?
Whoa.
Did you guys hear that?
I think it's Ghost.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Craig. What's up,
The
man?
ghost is back.
Craig was on a podcast earlier this year.
Like Guardians.
Was it really Guardians?
Yeah, it was Guardians.
Wow, that was like a year ago. we record these so far in advance. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I want to reserve some time now to talk about. So this week we're talking about Hawkeye. Just so you know.
You want to reserve some time?
Yeah,
we're talking about Hawkeye.
Yeah, this week we're talking about Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So get that in your brain. But I want to reserve some time to talk about Fox and Marvel and Disney all together. Finally, officially. What do you guys think? Are you guys excited to see? I don't know. Deadpool again?
Yeah, I think I'm more excited to see the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. I think they can, like, because to me the superhero bubble was popping. I think, like, people, again, we've been with the Marvel Cinematic Universe for 11, 12 years now. So how do you keep it fresh? And I think that's a big way on. That's a big answer for sure. Right there is the Fox merger for sure.
I guess. I don't know what to be excited for. I mean, this merger is still. I mean, it was just finalized, so we don't know what type of influence Disney's going to have on Fox, if any. Like, if they're just going to let them do their own thing. That being said,
No, they're not going to let them do that. Come on, John.
that being said, on the creative front, it's exciting for Marvel to gain back all their IPs, like, you know, the Fantastic Four and X-Men and all that other stuff that they've, you know, that Fox had. I feel really bad for the people who are about to be let go, because I heard that there's about to be 4,500
Because of
jobs.
redundancies.
Yeah, and it's terrible.
The circle of life, baby.
Ouch.
The Circle, the best Tom Hanks movie ever.
Fucking hell. That being said, it's just I just do want to give a shout out to all the. I mean, there's no such thing as a shout out here. Fuck, I just said that wrong. My heart breaks for the people.
You guys are all losing
I
your
know.
jobs.
Yeah.
Shout out.
My fucking my heart breaks for the
Sounds like
people.
respect.
My heart breaks for the redundancies that are happening.
And John, you're going to give money to everyone who doesn't. Like, what was the thing you were saying earlier about?
What? You are literally.
Like, you were going to. What were you going to do?
God damn it.
How much money was it?
I hate y'all. It's just. It's kind of sad that it's happening, obviously. But on the creative front, like I said, it is.
Oh, I was like, definitely glass half empty with John.
I know.
All right, I'm just going to stop talking. Someone else start.
I do agree with John that it is going to be bad for those people to not have jobs.
Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
There you go. Cool.
Craig, are you excited
we
for who would you want to see first? Disney? Yeah. Disney knocks on your door. Knock, knock, knock. They say, "Hey, Craig, we just have all these things. What should we start with?" What would you say?
Well, I mean, I'm going to start with X-Men.
Boom.
Yeah. I just want to see what they're going to do with it, what type of budget it's going to have,
Yeah.
and who they're going to get to direct it. And even if they do get somebody to direct it and produce it, you know, is it going to be, going back to Guardians here, is it going to be somebody who's going to really own it?
Oh, you know who's available? Bryan Singer.
Oh,
God
damn it.
Zinger. Nice.
I think it is going to be interesting. Do you guys think that if they do X-Men, it would be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or would it be kind of weird to where they're like, why are there now mutants in this?
I think it's going to
planet?
be a crossover. I would say they'd probably cross them in first, some way or another, maybe some sort of movie, or start introducing them into
Like a reboot wise. Yeah.
almost, yeah.
Maybe they go into an alternate universe. Or
That's true. They have
mutants
dimensions and stuff.
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
What if,
It'd
like,
be
when
interesting to see what they shelf though, what they shelf for a long time.
Well, and I
what they
definitely-
dive into.
I definitely think you can't blow all your load at in 1 second or whatever.
Wow,
One,
really
two pump
good.
chump.
Yeah. Don't blow all your load.
Well, it's just because like
what do you do? Trickle it out
Yeah,
slowly?
yes.
Squeeze it.
Yeah, exactly. You got to put your thumb over the hose. But yeah, it's
It just makes it go farther.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's just
It's the
because
difference between shoot and spray.
you don't want to just introduce the X-Men and the Fantastic Four all at once, because then you kind of deprive yourself for future material.
I'm opposite. One movie, all of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, next
Hour and a half.
Yeah, after Endgame, another Avengers movie. Yeah.
It is kind of weird because I think you've built a lot of trust with these Marvel Cinematic Universe movies to where now, as long as it's an MCU movie, people will go.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it'll be interesting because these are very different groups of villains.
Well, and like X-Men deals with like a little bit more of like, because like I was saying, I think in an earlier maybe this episode, maybe an earlier podcast.
Who knows?
But,
We're recording 70 tonight.
Yeah, I think it's the X-Men have a little bit more of like an adult premise where it's based in like segregation.
Yeah.
And so starting in like 2008 with the very first Iron Man, it was a different time back then, and we were younger. So again, like now we're growing up. So how are you gonna adapt, and how are you gonna keep us interested? And we know they're always gonna get the kids, on board and new fans and stuff like that. Because I mean, some of these movies are pretty fantastic.
What if they use Dark Phoenix to reboot it?
That'd be interesting. I think they mentioned that they were going to scrap all of the cast minus Ryan Reynolds. They said Ryan Reynolds was the only one they were going to keep in continuity. So maybe he's the one that can mention like, why do all of you look different and I'm the only one that looks the same, or whatever. But to me, I think like X-Men is like prime time Disney Plus material because you can get a little bit more adult there. It's kind of like Ian McKellen where like he took the role because he was gay, and it helped him kind of forge the character that was Magneto and
It's
stuff
true,
like that.
and X-Men, it's not like we haven't seen a successful X-Men ever. We've seen almost a decade's worth of X-Men films, even leading up to Dark Phoenix. So maybe taking some time to let people reset.
Yeah.
We see there aren't really many rules because DC shoves out Batman movies without waiting
like crazy,
that much longer. So I mean, they can
comics too.
they can do whatever they want. But I can see how a Disney Plus series can slowly reintroduce people to those themes.
Even if you don't, like, you can do the Fantastic Four for 10 years, because then you can fight the Skrulls again. You can do Secret Invasion for one of the Avengers movies. You can fight Doctor Doom. You can fight Galactus. And then after those 10 years are over of material or whatever, you can bring in, the X-Men. And then you have why wouldn't you want another 20 years of material, instead of just 10?
Let's talk about Fantastic Four here for a bit. It's a favorite for a lot of people, and
and Johnny Storm was
Marvel's first family.
Yeah.
Really like
first fam.
And also, the Human Torch was their first hero. In general,
One of the oldest groups, I think. I was just listening to this Marvel pod recently, and they were talking about the creation of the Hulk and how most of it was just the Thing, and they were like, "Well, let's just do the Thing, but make something a little bit more." Different because the Thing was very popular when the book came out.
And,
Right,
You
yeah.
couldn't change back either.
Yeah. So exciting stuff. Would you guys like to see Jim from The Office play Mr. Fantastic?
Well, that'd be cool. John Krasinski.
Hot.
Yeah, and then you can have Emily Blunt play the Invisible Woman if she wanted to. Yeah.
And you can have the monster from A Quiet Place play the Human Torch.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever fucking was doing motion cap for those monsters can.
That weirder Demogorgon from Stranger Things. But cool. Exciting stuff. I mean, I emailed Bob Iger from Disney recently, and I said, hey, the season of Countdown to Infinity is about to end. What can you do? And he said, let me check the bank. And he was like, and he was like, whoa, so many zeros. And this is all an email too. So this was over a month. And I was like, how many zeros? And he said, wouldn't you like to know? Yeah. And I said, I do want to know. And he said, I'm going to buy Fox. And so I'm glad that and then he did. You know, he always does he always does what he says.
For real.
Yeah.
It's still pretty crazy to see so many things be under one conglomerate.
Outside of Marvel.
Yeah.
Now they need is Spider-Man.
They have The Simpsons. They have Alien.
Oh, I'm so glad.
They have everything.
I hope The Simpsons finally becomes more family friendly.
If anything, it's going to be exploited to a motherfucker. Like, at this point,
every one of those Family Guys is going to have a Disney thing. Everyone's going to have a funny Disney thing soon. I just remember The Simpsons. We weren't allowed to watch it growing up because my parents were super religious, and there was an episode of all the episodes for my mom to sit down and be like, well, let me watch one. No, he watched it was a Thanksgiving Day episode, and
where he high fives God.
No, oh my God, how many? There's a lot of Thanksgiving Day episodes. No, but Bart has to say the thanks or something, and so Bart sits down and he says, "Thanks God for nothing." And my mom was turned it off. She's like, "Nope, no more." And I was like,
and
"Damn!"
you were just getting into it, right?
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, that's funny."
So now Disney owns that.
I know. So guess what, Mom? I win somehow. But this week we were talking about Hawkeye. Hawkeye, in my opinion, the most human of all the Avengers.
Yeah, definitely.
That's very true.
For sure.
Just overall, even in his lifestyle.
I thought you were joking. I was getting ready to laugh, but I was like, no, he's right.
Oh, sorry. Here's a joke. Hawkeye, is he different than Eagle Nose?
Yeah.
But
we'll cut it out later.
Idea for superhero, Eagle Nose. He flies and he can smell good.
He can smell hard.
He can smell hard and fast.
what?
But Hawkeye, who is Hawkeye in the comic books? Is
Jeremy
he...
Renner.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
who is Hawkeye? Hawkeye's real name is Clinton Francis Barton. He is a obviously he's the Hawkeye character in the comics. He does the archery. He was created by Stan Lee.
You sound like he does the archery. You sound like Bill Cosby.
He does exactly what you think
He does the archery and go to bed.
He's created by Stan Lee and Don Heck. He appeared as a villain in Tales of Suspense.
Another villain.
And later joined the Avengers in the Avengers number 16, which was at May 1965.
If any of you listeners bought that copy on that day, let us know and we'll sing you a happy birthday because you're very old.
Right, and it's probably not your birthday at this point, but we'll still send that. Obviously,
the 60s, man, that was a good time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd love to be born into the 60s. I'd be like, I'd be old fucker status for you. I don't care.
I was 42 in the 60s.
Yeah, very true.
shit.
So do the math. Everybody's doing the math on their calculator.
You're literally like ancient.
Was he a member? Was he a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the comics, like he is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe films?
So he kind of was, not really.
Okay. That was a real politician answer.
The thing is, like, he at one point he was basically like he joined a circus, really, and he became known as the world's greatest marksman. Well, in that circus as Hawkeye.
But is that because he's trained to do that, or is that like some like a magic arrow hit him in the butt and suddenly he's good at it?
No, he was trained to like archery in the comics.
Really in the movies. They never really built his backstory at all, right? He just kind of showed up and started shooting arrows.
You know, he's got a family, and you know he was in Budapest.
The MCU version of the Hawkeye is very gray. Like, you know, you don't really know what about you. He's just Hawkeye. Like you're almost expected to know who he was in the comics, so you know who he is.
Yeah.
Well, he shows up as Ronin, right? So
in Endgame.
Yeah. Well, in Endgame, so I think that we're gonna get a little bit more about him now.
Yeah. But in the comics, you know, Clint, had his archery skills, and he became a carnival attraction called Hawkeye. The world's greatest marksman. He spent, he joined the Coney Island Circus, and then he saw Iron Man in action, and that inspired him to become a costumed hero. So he did put on the that Hawkeye, that iconic Hawkeye mask, which you haven't seen in the movies, obviously. But if anyone
fat ass brows,
anyone who's known Hawkeye, the 616 version of Hawkeye in the comics, knows that he wears a mask and stuff. However, because of a misunderstanding, when he was doing his first mission, he was accused of theft, and he was he was believed to be a criminal.
Oh damn!
And so
wrongfully accused.
Yeah. So on the run, Hawkeye met Black Widow.
Oh,
with whom he fell in love.
Oh,
interesting.
Shit. I didn't know that.
And then he he aided her attempts to steal technology developed by Tony
And this is
Stark.
from, what is this from? What's your source here? Are you reading fanfic or something?
No, I'm reading Wikipedia, which is a scholarly source here.
I know that's how you do most of your college papers, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
So
talking
like,
to
you
you,
know,
kids.
we're literally like going right to the source here, you fuckers. Anyway,
Wow.
John's like, I just wrote this morning.
I wrote it into Wikipedia. Is Wikipedia the same as WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, or is there totally different things?
I don't know. We
different
should probably get that in. We should probably get that confirmed here. Open invite,
Julian Assange. Look up Hawkeye on WikiLeaks.
and get back to us.
Yeah, find out what's up there.
So like he basically like he fell in love with Black Widow. They basically teamed up, and it seems like
They stole from Iron Man.
yeah. And so they fought Iron Man, and then apparently Black Widow got injured, and like he decided to be like a superhero. So like he decided to do good
To save her.
because of it. Yeah, exactly. So he decided to be a straight shooter from there on. That's
like
what,
us.
That's what the page
We're
says.
everyone on this podcast, we're all straight shooters too. Like we tell it like it is.
Well, the
Not
reason
like it was.
Hawkeye,
Or it's what it's going to be.
the reason Hawkeye becomes a member of the Avengers is because he rescues Edwin Jarvis. And anyone knows who Edwin Jarvis is. It's the butler.
butler.
The butler of the Avengers.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
Yeah. So and then he invites Hawkeye to Avengers Mansion, and then they kind of
Damn, he was brought in
he
by the
kind of
butler.
he kind of basically gains rapport with Iron Man and Captain America, and then he joins the team with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. At the time, yeah.
All people who are in these. So in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he's introduced in
Right off the
Thor.
bat,
Which
Yeah.
is weird, because, he was obviously interacted with Iron Man first.
Everyone else, really.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Really interesting beginning for Hawkeye, and very mysterious beginning because he really doesn't do anything in Thor.
Yeah.
Other than almost kill him.
Like, to me, I would have picked the gun.
Yeah.
You remember? Because that's the first thing. It's like, hey, get somebody up there. We need eyes. And then he's like, gun? Bow and arrow. And he takes the bow and arrow. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
That's like a setup. I wonder if they asked them to include him in that movie, or if it was just something that. And now I'm blanking out. Who made Thor? What's his name? Kenneth Branagh. Yeah, I wonder if it's something that Kenneth Branagh was like. Well, we need another character. Let's see who's in the comic books.
If anything, it was probably Marvel. Like, you need to put somebody else in there.
Yeah, we need a second.
We need to plant seeds for the future
Yeah.
movies. But to me, I kind of want to see the marksman thing. Like, it's not like I dislike the bow. It's just like I want to see you be a marksman with something else. You know?
Well, does he just do bow and arrow in the sea books?
No, he's like all around.
He's like Bullseye.
Yeah, so he's a marksman in general.
So I like that. That's why.
Well, that's kind of weird because in the main Marvel universe, the 616 universe, he mainly uses a bow and arrow. But in the Ultimate universe, all sorts of things.
Who came first, him or Green?
Green Arrow. Green Arrow.
Yeah, but you know what though? To be a marksman with a bow and arrow is a lot freaking harder than with
It's
a
very
gun.
true.
Yeah. So that shows the level of skill that Hawkeye is.
And they do show in this film most of the times his arrows are not normal arrows. They have some kind of special
Trickery.
thing. Yeah, they explode or
They split into three, or Ant-Man's on one of them.
I think even just in the Avengers films, he has like 20,000 different kinds of arrows that he can toss out there.
Yeah.
So maybe it's
He never runs out.
He's got the
Never
skill
runs out.
deal. Like, didn't he type in a
Yeah,
code on his thing? and it was like-
he clicks the bow. Like the bow, like it's almost
It's
as
different
many
arrows,
clicks.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting. Well, I mean, that's some updating just for this for him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He doesn't really appear in too many MCU movies. I think his biggest turn is probably in Avengers
Age of Ultron.
Age of
probably.
Ultron Part
Well,
2.
and that's what sucked is that I think his role in Avengers 1 outraged Hawkeye fans everywhere. So Joss Whedon wrote him a bigger part in the second one.
So this is actually something that Jeremy Renner said about the first Avengers film, because outside of Thor, this is really the only time we see him, and he's an integral part because he is partially
A villain.
Yeah. But this is what Jeremy Renner said about being in Avengers. He said, at the end of the day, 90% of the movie, I'm not the character I signed on to play, the actor said in an interview with the LA Times. I'm literally in there for 2 minutes, and then all of a sudden, so there's not a lot of backstory or understanding. We can really tell about who Clint Barton is, or Hawkeye. And is he working for S.H.I.E.L.D. or not? There's a lot of unanswered questions, even for me. Sick burn.
Yeah, I guess, and that's the fan react. That's what the fan reaction was as well.
But he has such a good role in Avengers: Age of Ultron
with Linda Cardellini and his family and his kids and all that.
And he's basically the red
human.
herring. Yeah, he's
the most human of the Avengers.
He's
really.
he's the lamb. Anchor. Yeah, he really is, and he's the guy who we think is going to die for the whole movie.
That was like the worst part of the movie for me. I
really?
felt like I felt like it was just a bunch of stuff thrown in there to stretch the movie out.
Well,
like it wasn't needed for him, in my opinion.
Damn, shots fired.
Shots fired.
No,
Joss Whedon.
I'll go ahead and build off that. Like it does feel like it is
2 shots.
Hold on, shit.
It must be college night at the Bonham Exchange because we have 2 shots here tonight.
I'll go ahead and add to that though, because like I do feel like when I first saw Age of Ultron, it was the same way. It's kind of like you're needlessly throwing backstory to a character that didn't have one in the last one. So like you're trying to build off a character who didn't have it as much spotlight. That being said, like it going forward, I feel like it does make all those scenes do make Hawkeye the most human because like he's not in it. To him, it's just a job, and like he's looking for like the light at the end of the tunnel, which is like oh yeah, I'm just gonna do this with my family at the very end of the day.
Yeah, but at the same time, like Tony Stark's a billionaire. You're telling me this dude doesn't have a hideout somewhere on an island that they couldn't have went to? They all dispersed at the end of the other movie and were gone for forever. Well, you're gonna go to this guy's house,
but Tony Stark's hideout would probably be riddled with technology, so they needed to go somewhere reclusive, somewhere that was off the radar, so to speak.
It's still the Avengers, though.
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying? Like
that's what
they can fly, they can do all kinds of other shit. So like
but Ultron can bounce anywhere.
That could be the hubris,
the
hubris, basically of like Tony Stark.
Maybe Hawkeye doesn't have internet.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're out there chopping wood. They don't even have. They don't even have a chainsaw.
Where's the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, of course.
Google.
He had his wife out so he could chop wood.
Yeah.
And it's also when Nick Fury, I think, knows where that place is too. Right? There's a lot of.
It's kind of weird because like that just means Hawkeye has like Nick Fury on speed dial.
I do think Craig that a lot of what happens there was part of a reshoot or something
because it's course correction.
Definitely.
It was course correction from the first one.
Yeah, and they have pieces there that are going to be introduced in Civil War. I think with the wood chopping between Captain America and Iron Man scene where they're kind of like fighting already.
Yeah.
So I think because and they're doing this now, especially with Hawkeye, just for Endgame.
Yeah.
They're reshooting a ton of his scenes.
He looks super grim, so you can tell he's probably lost his family, and like now you get to see the unhinged version of Hawkeye, the one that's pissed off, and the one the Black Widow. Black Widow's always like that, like and so is obviously a lot of these characters. They're pretty much the same person all the way around.
Yeah.
Whereas Hawkeye is 2 people, and now that person's gone. And
I think it's one of the things that they're able to do, but is also it's kind of like how they filmed Infinity War before Black Panther was made, so they had to go back and reshoot things to fit into what the audience really responded to.
Yeah.
I bet it was the same for Ultron. They had to fit because a lot of things in that scene are kind of
they're really out of place.
Crazy,
like the whole scene itself for me was out of place.
I bet that they did some of that in there too. And again, they're doing that right now with Endgame, probably for Captain Marvel.
Yeah, modifying the Captain Marvel
all the
scenes,
stuff
definitely.
It's really a luxury for a movie, which is insane to be able to do all that.
I think you really need like a lot of these badass moments to go to the characters like Black Widow and Hawkeye, because Hawkeye has this badass scene where Scarlett Witch is controlling everybody and he's the only one that gets the leg up. I've done the mind control thing, not a fan. Remember of Loki and stuff like that. So I think you really need those badass character moments for people like this, because they can't fly and they can't shoot a bunch of missiles and stuff like that. So some of the stuff in Age of Ultron for sure seems like course correction, or seems like it's pertaining to future movies or whatever, but I thought a lot of his it was pretty cool to see a lot more of him, especially since he's not going to get a solo movie like Black Widow. Black Widow will eventually get a solo movie, but not so much Hawkeye.
One of the interesting things about Hawkeye is because he has a family and he has another life outside of being a superhero. He's really one of the most vulnerable of all of the Avengers because he has something to lose. I don't know if that makes any sense, but a lot of the other ones are already out of place and they don't have much of anything going on,
like
at least on Earth, other than Thor.
Tony and Clint are the ones that have something to lose.
So
I think he really doesn't care about the bigger picture. He's kind of doing this like as a job. Like you can totally get that vibe from him. Like he's waiting to.
But who pays?
Yeah, he's waiting to clock out. Really, like at the end of the day.
It's kind of like me.
For what?
He's like, when's this episode ending?
Yeah,
I'm clocking out right now.
But yeah, so like that's what's really cool about Hawkeye. He's literally the most like the human of these Avengers, and he's been in the movies the least amount. I feel like any other Avengers. He's only really been in Thor as a cameo appearance.
And one of the biggest things is we barely see him we don't see him in Infinity War. So everyone had all these theories already about
what's going on
who he
with
is and why it's important.
And
so he's been in Thor.
So then, are they going to spend a lot of time, or are they going to spend time going back and showing the transition from the Hawkeye that's missing to? Spoiler alert.
I'd hope so. Right?
I think you might get exposition.
You might get that.
I think you're just going to get exposition because there's so much you need to cover in this new movie.
Family dusted.
Yeah, he's just going to be like, I lost my family, and then this. You know.
It'd be interesting if they did a continuation on the Disney Plus or something to build off.
That would
story.
be really cool, and I don't know, like they have a show called Agents of Shield, and it lends itself to like throw Black Widow in there, throw Hawkeye in there,
but
throw Sam Jackson, and it never does. So.
But I feel like that could be like a possibility, which is like pretty awesome because Hawkeye is, regardless of how he is in the MCU, he's a giant character in the comics. Like he had a great run recently by Chip Zdarsky or something. Yeah, right. I guess Drew,
the one with the female Hawkeye.
Yeah. Well, even then, like Clint Barton made an appearance
he's there.
in that one.
He's in there.
So like he had a great run in the comics recently. I just don't understand why they don't want to put that on to film. It could be just Renner's, Jeremy Renner's schedule because Jeremy Renner does. Well, it's not that he's getting older. He does a lot of shit. Like he's Oscar nominated.
What is he in? He's in an action.
Yeah,
franchise. Is it Bourne?
He's in multiple action franchises.
Bourne and Mission Impossible.
So like he can do a lot of stuff, and I feel like it's probably just like scheduling.
The Hurt Locker
but also
3.
it could also be because his character, visually resembles, I guess, like just like Black Widow or something. Like
Well, yeah, 'cause I don't think that they've spent a lot of time building her. They've given you hints and stuff throughout the movies as well, but she's had a lot more airtime.
Yeah,
she has.
She doesn't. It doesn't feel like she's just thrown in as a puzzle piece to
as the way
things.
the Hawkeye is, because Hawkeye is thrown in almost like forcefully in this case. In a way, which is kind of a little bit insulting to fans, but like I get it, because
half the time he spends, he was controlled by in the whole MCU. He's
but also in in the fact of like movie making, you have all these characters. You do have to sacrifice some, just for running time. Just the way that the movie runs, you do have to sacrifice some, some storylines. So like I would understand if Hawkeye was the storyline because he's
bottom of that list.
Well, it's also because he's the most underdeveloped. Like I said, he's in Thor, he's in the Avengers, and after that he doesn't come back till Age of Ultron, and then he comes back in Civil War, and then that's literally the last you see of him until I guess the new one, Endgame.
Which hopefully we see a lot of him in. Let's run down the list of his friends.
The Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, his biggest one is
Black Widow. They have a history.
That's pretty much it. And he has some back and forth.
Yeah,
with,
but that's it. End
with
of list, really.
Scarlett Witch.
Yeah,
Scarlett Witch is he's kind of like a father figure to her almost, which is weird because going from Magneto to Hawkeye is is interesting, but he really tries to take care of her, and he genuinely does care about her. He even steps up to Iron Man to try to fight, for her.
Maybe it says a lot about his character that they had to send him to extract.
Well,
Scarlet Witch.
And then also he's going up against the most powerful Avenger in Vision, where he's like, he's the only one that can trick him and stuff, and he does it with nuts too. He goes not scared.
That's true. Yeah, he busts her out,
and not to mention that he's been retired. Like he was already on the island, in Hawaii with his family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm gonna go take on the strongest Avenger, easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was like, there's a hint of him battling boredom that first retirement round because he's like he comes back so easily.
Yeah. And I wonder if the things that I think he is definitely driven more by his relationships more than even the greater good or saving the world. Some of the reasons why he does what he does is because of Black Widow or because of Scarlet Witch or because of something like that rather than, hey, the world is ending.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think he's actually part of the plan. I think he's, you know what I mean? Like, he's just like, oh, hey, I'm going to go in and do this mission and then I'm out.
He's like a friend of
people.
Yeah,
he's not part of the plan. He's not interested in going after Thanos. He's not interested in going after Ultron or
And I think in Endgame it'll be something similar.
I think now he will be after Thanos.
Because he got his family.
The thing that mattered. So that's what's going to be really cool is, I mean, we say that he's an underdeveloped character, but I think we're going to get a lot of development in this new one.
He's going to be overdeveloped by the end of this.
Yeah, we're going to be like, we've seen too much. Snap him away.
3 hours of Hawkeye monologue.
Yeah, just him fighting.
I was born.
Have you seen the Hurt Locker? That's just going to be in the MCU at this point.
Hurt Locker's so good. Spoiler alert. It's about...
You're like, spoiler alert, it's good.
Spoiler alert, no lockers in the whole film.
None of them hurt.
Yeah. They're all very healthy.
Healthy lockers.
There's a scene in the Hurt Locker which really gets me when he's in the grocery aisle.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Oh, man.
There's just crazy. No Frosted Flakes anywhere. That really gets me going.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Let's talk about our favorite Hawkeye moments. Do you guys have yours?
Damn, you didn't want to do his villains?
He ain't got no villains.
They ain't got no villains, really. Just
kind of.
It's literally every Avengers villain.
I guess Wind.
Yeah, he fights the Avengers. Yeah,
he overcame the wind too.
Yeah,
he did overcome. Yeah, that's right.
In the first Avengers
he
movie,
accounts for it.
Yeah, they're on the helicarrier like hundreds of feet up, and he's like, "I got this."
Yeah, damn. Okay, all right. No villain. So yeah, no villain.
Yeah, Loki kind of. Loki, he hates Loki bad
because he took him. He took
advantage of him.
It's crazy that scene where he kind of has to get over the mind control.
Yeah, he's under the influence of an Infinity Stone.
It's crazy. Like that was like, oh my gosh, is this what like drug recovery is like?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. That I've never recovered.
You're still hooked.
And you know who else?
Well, then if that's the case, then we go around beating the shit out of people. They'll snap out of it.
Remember, and it's crazy because that professor gets over it pretty quick.
Selvig.
Well, they all get hits to the head, which is like just like... It's kind of like it's literally what Craig just said,
and that's why football players are never controlled by Loki.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
But they do have to deal with other things.
True.
Favorite Hawkeye moment?
Bitch, get your mind right.
My favorite Hawkeye moment is probably that scene in the first Avengers where he is himself and he has all of his arrows.
Yeah.
And they're kind of all working together, so he has special plans on how to divert people. Because in my mind, I imagined him on top of one small building.
Yeah.
And
not being able, like, I can't see.
Yeah, because he can't really move around. He literally just has to wait. He's like, until he's basically hunting like a normal hunter. Like, you have to wait for a deer to come by.
That scene is really cool though, because he does. You're seeing all his arrows.
He accounts for the wind.
Yeah. Or there's that scene where he shoots at Loki and he knows that Loki will catch it. Yeah. And Loki's like, "Huh, bitch," and then it blows up. And you're like, "Boom."
That's my favorite moment, and because it's also interesting to see someone who's a human, or I guess he's human, right? Like he doesn't have anything special. Sure. Contribute that much to a team filled with gods and billionaires.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true.
What are your favorite moments, Hawkeye moments? I don't know if there's many, so you guys better.
Yeah, I know. Craig,
you should go first. Yeah. Andrew has like 20 of these.
I do have,
man.
I have some in the bank.
I don't think I have a necessarily a favorite moment, but I'll say that in all of the time that he has been on screen, I feel like the character's been executed well by him. You know what I mean? So it's more towards the actor than the actual character.
Yeah, Jeremy is really good, and he's kind of established as a good comedic presence and also just a good action guy too. Like
when again, like he fits everywhere. Where he's funny and when he's emotional, and I mean he sees Quicksilver die.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where like it's almost like it's he sees Scarlett Witch as the daughter. So it's kind of like losing like the kid where he's he kind of has a lot of back and forth with him throughout the movie and stuff like that. But yeah, you get to see him like that, and you get to see him vengeful, and he wants to go after Loki, and it's going to be very interesting to see again what happens in Endgame. But my favorite Hawkeye moment has to be when in Civil War when he him and Ant-Man tag team, because that's something straight out of the comic book where that's like a panel where he's like he puts Ant-Man on the arrow and shoots it at Iron Man, and then Ant-Man infiltrates Iron Man's suit, and the comedic relief ensues, and it's
I mean,
hilarious.
that sequence is growing on me because I feel like we've talked about it a lot, and a lot of in the listener mail episodes, people talk about that a lot.
Yeah, well, and to me, that again, Hawkeye as fuck. Like, I didn't even think that that's something that you could put on screen, in 2008. Like, this will never happen for sure. This is gonna be way too cheesy. And then when it happened, you're like, oh shit, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Boom.
Shit. Now that I forget about all the Civil War moments, I was like kind of thinking of another Hawkeye moment. Yeah. But I do like I do like the Civil War moment where he stands up to Vision and he knows he can't really fight him. So like he still keeps that humor around. Like Vision punches him back and he's like kind of like, I knew I should have stretched before this. Yeah. And then like he brings out a baton, like a little asp, like a police asp or something. Not a snake. If anyone knows what the fucking asp is.
That's what I thought you were saying.
Whipping out snakes.
And I was like, wow, that's his superpower.
I don't know where he got snakes from. I didn't hear
he whips out a fucking
I thought you said,
asp, like
ass.
Yeah, he
whips
out his ass.
I thought you said ass, so I was
He whips out his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
Just twerking it out.
For no reason, just starts slapping his butt.
To fight Vision.
Yeah. No, I'm surprised no one picked him fighting Black Panther. Black Panther had his debut there, and he's like, hey, I'm Clint. And then Clint, he's like, I don't care. Black Panther.
That scene with him fighting Vision is pretty cool because he knows he can't win. He's just trying to rescue Wanda, which is the Scarlet Witch, because he has that parental connection the way he did in the last movie, Age of Ultron, and he does not give up. Like he breaks his baton on Vision's arm. He tries to kick him and does everything. He does not give up at all.
It's crazy. I wonder if he has that connection because he did see her brother
die and stuff. That's probably it. That's the cool thing about
somewhat
Hawkeye.
Responsible for it.
Hawkeye is just that's why Hawkeye is to me. He's almost like the most human part of the team. He's just it doesn't.
He plays the old man character a lot too.
Yeah, like a mentor, like a mentor character. So because he even tells his wife too. He's like, my wife. These people need me. And she's like, why do they need you? He's like, I don't know. They just do.
It's because he's the most, again, the most human, the most regular, even more so than Black Widow.
He's almost like an Avengers mercenary. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's only in it for the job. Like I said earlier, he's looking forward to clock out time.
I feel like if they keep anybody from the original ones, he would be a really cool idea to keep for, going forward. Because again, he can play that role of hey, you got to find a balance, and again, that mentor, and coaching, and
you really do feel his presence missing whenever it is, because Endgame,
definitely.
It was it was huge in Infinity War when he was gone,
and then all he does is shoot arrows, and everyone's like, "Where the fuck is Ant-Man and Hawkeye?" You're like, "That's crazy."
What does that mean?
Yeah,
because you assume either they have a really big role to play later on, or something's up.
You end up finding out that he was under the same deal that Ant-Man was, the house arrest thing, and if not, then they were going to jeopardize their families.
That's true. They both have families.
Mm-hmm. Family, Toretto.
Corona Light.
Well, and that goes back to, like I said, I believe it was executed well. So, you could really just chuck it up to everything kind of being a favorite moment in the sense that, he's executed every one of his own time error. Even the scene where he's talking to his wife, while I still feel like that was, added in and all that stuff, he still executed that part well. His human side is pretty much executed well every time as well.
Yeah, he's always spot on. And again, that we obviously didn't see him. The last time we saw him was in what was it, Jen? The Civil War.
Yeah.
So
that was what, 1865?
Yeah, I know. Mm-hmm. Ulysses S. Grant. Just kidding.
I forgot the other guy's name already.
General Lee.
Yeah.
Oh shit! But it's one of those things where it'll be pretty interesting since we haven't seen him the longest, because we saw Ant-Man and the Wasp, and even in the after credit scene that dabbled a little bit into the effects of Infinity War.
A little dab.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where we see Hawkeye.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the future of Hawkeye. Do you guys think he survives Endgame?
That's a hard one because I don't know if he does or not. I'm gonna go ahead and say he doesn't. I can see him actually retiring at this point.
No, I think he does, but then obviously he stays with his family.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get a really big moment where everyone who has a family on Earth lives and goes back.
Yeah, I definitely think that again they're not gonna kill off 3 or 4 characters. People would be pissed for sure. I think it's only going to be 1, maybe max 2. Maybe incapacitate someone like the way they did with War Machine. Where it's like your legs don't work, but now you're going to be War Machine, so that's cool, type thing. So I think maybe, like, if anything, they're like, oh, you lost your hand and now you can't shoot your bow. Oh, that's it.
Use your
I have
feet.
a sword now.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that,
Yeah.
But
I
think he survives for sure.
I'm thinking about getting a really big bracket because I know every week we've been asking people if if they survive or not. But I'm thinking about getting a really big old thing and just having people pick out
March Madness.
Just to say, well, March Madness, the death of people.
Yeah.
In Endgame.
I think he survives. I think that he survives. They shelf him and then they build off of the Ronin thing later.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about
awesome.
him maybe appearing in the Black Widow standalone film because they have
awesome.
such a strong relationship. It would it would make sense.
There's too many Ronins in the MCU.
Yeah.
That is true.
But yeah, anything else you guys want to talk about with Hawkeye? Anything you guys gonna pick up a bow and arrow, try to
I just want to tell Marvel to bring more Hawkeye to these
we
movies.
need more cowbell.
Yeah, exactly. Hawkeye is a great fucking character.
I got Emmanuel with my cowbell joke.
Yeah, it seems like it affected his lungs there.
Yeah.
A second. Yeah.
I swallowed my cigarette by accident.
But yeah, I know. I hope to see more of him for sure. And maybe a standalone too. Even if you have to cast someone like younger in a prequel, whatever. I think he just needs his due for sure. And hopefully we get an Endgame.
Hawkeye, hate it or love it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
America. Let's go around and talk about our plugs. I'll start off.
All right, cool. Come over to Heroes and Fantasy. Oh,
gosh. I'll start off by passing it on to Andrew.
Yeah, if you like Hawkeye, that comic run that John was talking about earlier, and I mean, there's a Hawkeye for everybody. The classic one.
There is a hot guy for everybody.
A girl. What?
What?
Wait, what? There's an old man Hawkeye too that happens in Old Man Logan.
Old Man Logan, he's blind.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool take on the character too. So again, if you don't like the MCU version or you want to see a little bit more of a classic version, I know there's a lot of flack that people think they didn't do his character right in the MCU because of how little they show of him, yada yada. So if you want to see more of him, then just head over to H&F.
Yes.
Who's next?
Go ahead and listen to all the Delphin Pod podcasts.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. And
we know
that.
you were waiting for John to tell you to.
Yeah, exactly.
Now he's saying, fine.
So you have your permission, guys. There you go. Listen to all the Delphin Pod podcasts. Sitting Room, Revenge of the Sequel, Countdown to Infinity, etc. At this point.
Sophisticated Savage.
I
do believe they got some episodes coming.
Some, obviously listen to the Sister Network Sticker Fridge podcast. Director Showdown is going strong right now. The Domcast is going strong. It's going to be pretty fun. We have some exciting things, especially on a crossover thing. We're going to do a little Freaky Friday thing here in a month or two, maybe. It's going to be pretty exciting. So yeah, go ahead and listen to that. It would be appreciated. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty awesome. Craig, you got any plugs?
I'm just gonna agree with you, man. Just the Delphin Pod umbrella and all the new shows that might be coming soon.
Yeah, exactly. Especially on the Patreon. The Patreon's gonna be pretty awesome. Yeah.
Go check that out.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure. Emmanuel?
What's the Patreon? Well, is it like what's the prices on that?
Patreon.com/DelphinPod. I think you can just give $1. I mean,
you can,
and you'll unlock a lot of free shows. Donating more unlocks a lot of other stuff too, but they're all good. Unlock. Guys, you're listening to this on April 1st. It's April Fool's Day. This whole episode was a joke. I'm just kidding, but that means there's only 3 weeks until Endgame comes out. So I think we're going to be coming out here soon. We've got a Doctor Strange episode, a Spider-Man, and then a Black Panther, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty
awesome.
awesome.
Of season 2, baby.
And then we're there, and then it'll be our Endgame episode.
To
end it all.
Ooh, how exciting. Yeah. But follow at Delphin Pod if you're getting all hyped up. Keep sharing it. Normally what we see is a lot of people are looking for Marvel stuff.
Yeah. Wear your Countdown to Infinity shirt.
Wear it
to the premiere.
Wear it to the premiere. It's too late to buy it.
Send us pics.
Should have fucking bought it last week.
That's what I said. I said wear it. No, you bought it. Now
I'm
wear
not
it.
mad at you. I'm mad
Cool
at
to
these
see
fuckers.
people lined up with their Dolphin Pod
Yeah.
shirts. That'd be sweet.
Fuck. Bye.
Later, guys. Thanks, Craig, for being on real quick. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. I enjoyed it. Had a good time.
Thank you. Later, guys.
Peace out.
We'll see you at the movie.
While you're sleeping.